Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending today's webinar. The webinar will begin shortly. Okay, so hello again, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, Achieving 93% Faster Time to Insight with the Power of Artificial Intelligence. So when you joined today's webinar, you selected to join either by phone call or your computer audio. If for any reason you would like to change your selection, you can do so by accessing your audio pane in the control panel that you see. And also from this control panel, you have the opportunity to submit question to the presenters and panelists by typing your question into the questions pane. And we will collect this question, and there will be a dedicated Q&A session towards the end of the presentation, and we will try to go through all the questions that we receive. If for any reason we could not get to your question, we will respond to you via email. Also, the deck we'll be sharing will be made available through SlideShare, along with the recording of the webinar within 2 to 3 days after the conclusion of this presentation. So keep an eye out for that email. Okay, so that's as much for the housekeeping items. So let's get started. Let me first introduce myself. My name is Benoit Das. I am a partner solution architect here at AWS. I'm also joined by Catherine Hatch, who is a product marketing manager at TIBCO, and Natalie Fisher, who is a product manager at TIBCO as well. So let's get started. So today's story is about data, the way that organizations are handling data in today's modern data-driven economy. So to begin with, I'd like to share with you a survey done by Aberdeen that shows that organizations that successfully generate business value from their data outperform their peers. The companies who have been successfully able to implement their data lake strategy has outperformed at least 10% in organic revenue growth compared to their peers who haven't done so. These leaders were able to do new types of analytics like machine learning over new sources of data like log files, click streams, social media, and internet-connected devices stored in their data lakes. These help them identify and act upon opportunities for business growth faster by attracting and retaining customers, boosting productivity, proactively maintaining devices, and making informed decisions. Okay, sorry, there was a little lag in moving to the next slide. So for the size and complexity of the data that needs to be analyzed today, what that means that the same technology and approaches that worked in the past don't work anymore. First, the volume of the data that we are seeing today is growing exponentially with machine-generated data from internet-connected devices growing 10 times faster than data from business application. And this makes it impractical for customers to purchase and install larger and more powerful hardware each time they reach the limit of the storage and compute capacity. Second, the types of available data are also changing from traditional operational data that are structured as tables and columns to data being generated by new sources like social media, mobile apps, websites, and devices. Therefore, customers can no longer constrain their analytics to relational data, but they now need to be able to store and analyze any type of data, including non-relational data, which does not have a defined relationship or schema. And lastly, these data is also generated real time. So therefore, the customers need to go beyond analyzing historical data to analyzing data as it comes. So before going further, I want to take a look at some of the traditional analytics techniques as it was run prior. So it was optimized for relational data sources, which included a very rigid schema design, and it required the questions to be answered prior to the data warehouse design can be met, because the schema had to be created knowing what type of data is loaded into the data warehouse. These enabled operational reporting on top of the data warehouse. However, it was very difficult to change and very difficult to scale when the scale of the data goes to petabyte or exabyte range. And nevertheless, it also commanded very high CapEx and OpEx costs due to high infrastructure demand. Now, the belief that data is an asset started to cause pressure on traditional architecture. For organizations, it cannot be business as usual anymore because these new customer requirements might break the traditional approach. In the new world, customers need to capture and store new non-relational data at exabyte scale. They want to store these data as being sourced by different places, not currently in the data warehouse, and this includes machine-generated data, log file, clickstream, social media, and so on. They also need to secure and combine these data from new and existing sources to have a single view of all of their data in an easy to catalog way that enables them to search all of the data and do analytics on top of it. Furthermore, they want their data to be secure to prevent unauthorized access. So the traditional data architectures were not built to account for this. Data used to exist in silos, making it extremely costly to build ETL tools to move the data, which will not scale at the exabyte data volume. Performing new types of analysis such as machine learning and big data processing is also one of the new requirements that customers have to do. And then customers increasingly need to do these analytics because they want to answer questions that was not possible to answer before. So their traditional architecture only accommodates reporting and ad hoc analysis on relational data. However, to get the most value of this new type of data, now customers need a scalable, secure, and comprehensive data storage and analytics platform. They need to be able to securely store the data coming from application and devices in its native format with very high availability, durability at low cost, and at any scale. In short, they need a data lake. Customers need to easily access and analyze data in a variety of ways, using the tools and frameworks of their choice in high performance, cost-effective way without having to move large amounts of data between their storage and analytics streams. And customers also need to go beyond visualization and insights from operational reporting on historical data to being able to perform machine learning and analytics accurately to predict future outcomes. On AWS, we do provide the most comprehensive, secure, scalable, and cost-effective portfolio of services that enable our customers to build their data lake on the cloud and analyze all of their data with the broadest set of analytical approaches, including machine learning. And as a result, there are more organizations running their data lakes on analytics and AWS than anywhere else on the cloud. We have customers like Netflix, Zillow, NASDAQ, Yelp, iRobot, and FINRA who trust AWS to run their analytics workloads. One major concern about the enterprise customers hosting their data on cloud is about security. So I want to assure you that AWS supports the security standards and compliance certification, including at the highest level. And this includes PCI DSS for payment card industry, HIPAA for healthcare industry, and FedRAMP for government. And also we have other compliance certification for other parts of the world, such as EU and Asia Pacific and most other countries, regulatory authorities around the world. On AWS portal, you can freely access all these compliance reports to ensure yourself that when you host your data, it is you that own the data and your data is always secure. To add to that, AWS runs the largest global cloud infrastructure. So today it spans 55 availability zones within 18 geographic regions and a local region around the world. So the cloud infrastructure is built around region and availability zones to provide multiple physically separated and isolated data centers, which are connected with low latency and high throughput in highly redundant networking infrastructure. These offer our customers an easier and more cost-effective way to design and operate application, making them more highly available, fault-tolerant, and scalable than a traditional single data center could achieve. For our customers who specifically need to replicate their data or application over greater geographic distances, there are AWS region almost every developed country in the world where you can choose to locate your data. And because of these security infrastructure and the global scale of the infrastructure, we see more and more people, more and more customers are running their data and analytic solution on AWS than anywhere else. And here, this is just a small snapshot of all of our customers, enterprise customers that run their data lake on AWS. You can see some of the big names here, such as FINRA, Netflix, NASDAQ, Amazon.com, the retailer itself, Cisco, Airbnb, and so on. With that being said, I'd like to hand over to Catherine, who would walk us through the TIBCO Spotfire analytics solution. Catherine.
Hello, I'm Catherine Hatch, Product Marketing Manager for TIBCO Spotfire, and thanks for joining the webinar today. Okay, so TIBCO at a glance. Who is TIBCO? TIBCO is a global leader in integration and analytics software. We fuel digital business by enabling better decisions and faster, smarter actions through what we call connected intelligence. From APIs and systems to devices and people, we can interconnect everything, capture data in real time wherever it is, and augment the intelligence of your business through analytical insights that lead to better business outcomes. The transverse nature of TIBCO and our Cloud First initiative really allows us to serve companies of all verticals and all sizes. Our flagship analytics product is TIBCO Spotfire. It provides visual data analytics for deep insights into data from Amazon Redshift, EMR, Aurora, Databricks, and many other sources such as Salesforce, SAP HANA One, and more to drive better decisions and smarter, faster actions. Spotfire delivers a shared, immersive analytics experience where you can really uncover new insights and deliver them all in real time. It's the original analytics tool that gives everyone the power to mash up and get deep insights from all of their data sources. So, as further fulfillment of that promise, TIBCO just announced Spotfire 10 with the all-new AX experience, meaning a totally reimagined customer experience, being released in mid-November shortly, and we're all really excited about it. As an analytics platform, Spotfire has been the gold standard in data visualization for the past 20 years. And now it's even easier for everyone to benefit from data visualization and analytics, whether you're just getting started or an expert trying to uncover deeper insights. So what is the AX experience? Well, it delivers natural language search, AI-powered insights, self-authoring dynamic data flows, and support for real-time data streams, all presented in a beautiful, reimagined user interface. So let's dig in a bit. Spotfire 10 is augmented. It's truly moving self-service visual analytics to the next level. Spotfire 10 is unique in that it lets users choose how they want to interact with data and start their analysis. By searching via natural language query, if you know what you're looking for example, typing in sales by quarter, you'll immediately see options for relating and displaying your data. You can also start an analysis with AI-powered insights, which are instant recommended visualizations that appear when you choose your data sources. and guide you to more quickly and easily find what's interesting. Or you can also start an analysis with AI-powered insight, or you can dive in through direct data manipulation with inline data wrangling. Whatever your goal and skill level is, you can choose the interaction method that fits you and the task best. Next, Spotfire 10 is more agile than ever before. The product's founder, Christopher Ahlberg, more or less invented the space of visual analytics when he founded Spotfire 20 years ago. It's always been love for how easy it is to drag and drop, hover, point and click to analyze data. But with Spotfire 10, this agile exploration is even easier and also wrapped in a beautiful new UI. Spotfire 10 is also more automated than other analytics platforms on the market. We've said that search, AI-driven insights, and direct manipulation are amazing features when you're analyzing your data. But sometimes you may want to take a step back and ask, how did I get to this visualization? What were my steps? And you might want to share your steps. So now Spotfire automatically records all of your data wrangling and analysis step by step on the data canvas, so you can see how you got there. And in the process, it creates an auditable data lineage that you can share with your colleagues. So anyone can actually perform or edit the same analysis that you did. It's a great way to empower self-service analytics throughout the business. And more good news is that you or your colleagues can author new steps and change your flow from the data canvas view anytime. Spotfire 10 is also aware. Now with true self-service visual analytics for real-time data through the Spotfire Data Streams add-on, enabling companies to optimize real-time operations in use cases where there's a need to respond quickly to frequent changes or compare real-time and historic data together is easy. For example, in retail, when you're analyzing continuous live operations for peak sales times like Black Friday or Cyber Monday, or for inventory management, in transportation for airport ground staff operations or servicing and scheduling, in finance for fraud detection, and for IT infrastructure monitoring in any industry, among other use cases in any industry. We're really pushing the border of BI and analytics by letting users analyze live data from dozens of streaming data sources such as Kafka, MQTT, Salesforce streaming, IoT, weather data, capital market exchanges, and many, many more. And you can combine it with historical data from sources like JDBC, MySQL, SAP HANA, and more, and static data such as Excel and CSV files. With Spotfire 10 and Spotfire Data Streams, you can build real-time dashboards just as easily as you build dashboards based on static data. So all of these combined with top-of-the-line geo-analytics and advanced capabilities like predictive analytics and embedded data science make Spotfire 10 the most comprehensive analytics solution on the market. And now I'll turn it over to Natalie Fisher, our product manager for Spotfire Cloud products.
Great. Thanks, Catherine. So today I will be sharing with you Spotfire's hosted offerings, which will be covered in the first 3 pillars. And the last pillar that is on the screen is about bringing your own license. So the first option that we offer is TIBCO Cloud Spotfire, which is our SaaS offering. It is part of our TIBCO Cloud integration, and it allows you to easily access other TIBCO Cloud products, such as integration and live apps via single sign-on, and it allows you to manage your subscription in Teams. Since it is a SaaS offering, it requires no installation, but it offers the same beautiful visualizations and functionality as if you were using the product on-prem. And this offering is great for single business users, small teams, or even divisions who don't or are unable to do full administration of Spotfire. And just to kind of give you guys a little bit of background on this, in terms of team sizes, the largest team that we currently have using our TIBCO Cloud Spotfire product is around 70 users. The second option is our TIBCO Spotfire Analytics platform, which can be found on AWS Marketplace. So the benefits for using this option is it allows a single user the ability to access Spotfire on demand. So this means that you can do an hourly subscription for the service, and this is great for any company or any particular individual who is familiar with AWS and wants to spin up an inexpensive instance for a project. So if you're a user who needs a data analytic tool just once in a while, this is a great offer for you. You can explore and visualize and create dashboards using Amazon Redshift, RDS, Microsoft Excel, SQL Server, and Oracle. And for this offer, it's basically one where you're renting the infrastructure and virtual machines from AWS directly. So you will be responsible for fully administering Spotfire yourself. And the last option on the third pillar for our cloud offerings is our TIBCO Spotfire Cloud Enterprise, which is our platform as a service. This product or this offering is a private single-tenant instance that's hosted on AWS and managed by TIBCO. In this offer, we include all installation, configuration and deployment, backup and DR, general maintenance, upgrades, hot fixes, monitoring and security, and any data privacy and data management. And we also, like I mentioned, we utilize AWS to host, but we work with our customers to stand up the environments in the regions that are closest to the majority of the customer's user base. The last option is TIBCO Spotfire. If you're familiar with our product at all, or maybe you're running it yourself on-prem, you can bring your own license for this and move it to any cloud vendor yourself. So feature-wise, you'll have access to all the same functionality that you'd find on-prem, but again, you'll be managing this yourself in cloud. And back to you, Catherine.
All right, and let's see, now we are going to go through a demo. Just one second. With Spotfire, you can analyze any type of data, whether it's stored in a database or saved on your local computer. Again, we have native connectors to Redshift, RDS, Databricks, EMR, many more. So let's go ahead and add this sales data. Once data is loaded, there are 3 ways to start analyzing it. You can start from the data, from a visualization type, or by typing in your analytical question. When starting from the data in the analysis, you will select the columns you're interested in. Here we'll do sales per year per store type. Okay, so you see our chart, and rebates in the different states might also be interesting to look at. So search is great when you know what you're looking for. Let's see what Spotfire finds for us. Here is a map chart. Let's add it. Of course, it's also possible to create a visualization from scratch. So let's remove this and set up a new bar chart. Okay, here we see our visualization options, all fully customizable. We'll select sales and state for the other axis, and store type. To make this visualization easier to interpret, you can sort the bars and adjust available space for labels. And there we go. You can get even more knowledge by making your own calculations on the data, as you can see here in this example. There we go. Okay, so of course you can also filter your data however you like. Here by large retailers and grocers and certain states, which we'll select. Ohio and California. And there we have Texas. Okay, there we go. Everything is interactive, and you can easily create a detailed visualization to drill down in your data. You can add more data at any time. Here I'm going to pull in an Excel file, And magically, Spotfire detects when data matches and automatically appends it as new rows. In the data canvas, everything you've done with the data is captured and auto-recorded. You get an overview, and you can easily edit any previous steps. Here we can see that new data was added as rows. When you're pleased with your analysis, you can easily share it. Just save it to the library and share the URL. Your colleagues can then access your analysis from their web browser. Okay. So now we're going to present the story of Rightway. Go back here. Elisa Westland, the Director of Marketing Analytics and Insights, was supposed to present the Rightway story today, but she had an unexpected conflict that prevented her from joining us, so I'm going to present for her instead. So who is Rightway and Beacon United? Rightway is a division of Beacon United. They're located in Lakeland, Florida. Beacon owns 6 companies with over 2,000 employees. They work with over 250 brands to act as a bridge between them and retailers, names like CVS, Kroger, Target, and many others. Rightway handles promotions, shelf placement and optimization, sales forecasting, and general category management of hundreds and thousands of SKUs across the various brands. So their key barriers to analytics. Before they got started, the Rightway team had a lot of challenges. They're tasked with delivering insights to their sales team that provide them with better understanding of trends and opportunities at certain grocery retailers. They try to find opportunities that will have the greatest sales impact for clients and grocers, but they were drowning in all their data. Their data growth created a real challenge as they passed Excel's capabilities. They receive both Nielsen and scanned point of sale data from retailers, and much of it is not usable in its raw state. It needs a lot of data wrangling. Multiple divisions were doing the same tasks, and analysts found that there were 80% data wranglers and 20% data analysts, which is actually a very common issue in analytics deployments. They needed smart, easy data wrangling that allows analysts to be problem solvers instead. They needed to become more efficient at getting to insights and actionable information in their data versus merely providing static sales reports in Excel. Previously, customization was difficult and accessing data was hard. Sales had to provide a 2-week lead time for reports. And really, they needed to analyze far more data than they were. Interactively with custom attributes for customer segmentation. They needed everything to be automated and device agnostic also. So they evaluated over 50 tools on the market, and they said AWS Marketplace made this process a lot easier. Spotfire stood out, and Rightway began their journey for digitizing their analysis processes. Spotfire is a very scalable platform that let Rightway harness all their disparate data sources, apply customer segmentation for each CPG and retail client for meaningful metrics, and deliver cloud-based insights with flexible delivery for any device. So once Rightway purchased Spotfire, how did they deploy to achieve 100% adoption, reducing their time to insights and increasing customer success so significantly? The key was to keep it simple. They were focused on self-service analytics for many types of users, applying principles such as basic top-down, left-to-right approach when building the dashboards with color consistency to represent various elements was important. Of course, providing quick links to the most important views and engaging early adopters for input was vital. And they utilized TIBCO resources. The TIBCO community has a wealth of resources and options for customer success to help you get started fast, including guidance on setting up and administering Spotfire, recommendations for connecting to data, for building visualizations, for customizing and collaborating, including templates and examples for every industry. The community also orients you with all the resources available across TIBCO to help you achieve your goals. You can see here The diffusion of innovations is a theory that seeks to explain how, why, and what rate new ideas and technology spread, really at any company. You have innovators on the left, then early adopters, then the majority, and at last, your laggards. So for each user group, Rightway developed a hands-on training program. They trained visionaries to be trainers themselves, to get feedback and generate excitement in the organization to use the new tool. Then live trainings for pragmatists with visionaries as partners, and then training for them, and a stronger partnership program for skeptics. And what was important was removing the security blanket for those skeptics, which was the legacy reporting system, and definitely a big step for them. So the phases of their deployment are outlined here. First, get senior leaders buy-in. Make sure training for the various lines of business deal with scenarios that apply specifically to their needs and the user groups and stages of adoption for each that we just saw on the last slide. Training the trainers was, of course, vital. And, creating a culture of analytics. Note again that laggards will not fully adopt until you remove that security blanket of legacy reporting systems in most cases. And really important for Rightway was engaging with the TIBCO Analytics customer success team, which has been a really great relationship with Rightway. The Rightway team also has taken the role of customer success internally to make sure adoption and growth of Spotfire remains strong. And of course, ensuring sales teams and everyone received hands-on training. So related to that hands-on training, their top 5 tips were, well, the goal was to provide a bridge from legacy reporting to Spotfire, right, and ensure adoption by all. So first, they recommended having small groups like lunch and learns for training, and introducing 2 to 3 reports and dashboard pages per training session. Making sure you establish a common language for analytics tools is super important, so you're all on the same page. And make sure hands-on labs are a requirement for all. Again, follow up on progress and continue this. They did so for 3 to 6 months. It's important to remember to correlate old reports in Excel or whatever you're using with new ones, being sure to establish that common terminology between what they have been seeing and how they will view it in the new dashboards. So explaining in that new terminology the visualization types and processes. They were sure to walk through several steps for each new visualization to ensure that understanding. For example, explaining nesting tree maps and segment views. Spotfire makes it easy to drill down. Here you'll see that sliced lunch meat is growing versus pouch lunch meat, but why? So in Spotfire, you can simply click on a graphic and subsequent visualizations show you what data it affects. For example, we have the ability to shift data views to drill into and negate any outliers. For example, like shipment issues due to, say, like hurricanes or snowstorms. So all the efficiencies and product capabilities you've heard about today actually increase Rightway's time to insights immensely. And Elisa said, the Spotfire time to insight is 93% faster than before. It used to take us a week to analyze a product category. Now I can complete the analysis in hours. And she says, with TIBCO Spotfire, our analysts have the time to really partner with brands we work with. Instead of building reports, we're utilizing the tool to build insights. So key takeaways from the Rightway story. Adoption is paramount in analytics. And if you keep it simple and structured and show the business value, it can be a huge success that lets everyone be more invested in the data and getting the most out of it. Interactive visualizations and this built-in predictive modeling led to business growth and customer success for Rightway. Now they have time to share their knowledge, build the business, do more of what they love, and be successful in it. For Rightway, more customers are opening their doors because they know they can find opportunities through Rightway that they couldn't before. And finally, Elise's team's analysis went from a week to just hours, 93% faster than before. So that is it. And now we can move to Q&A. Benoit, do you want to kick it off?
Hello. Yes, Catherine. So thanks for the presentation, and we do have a few questions that came in. We will try to answer all the questions as at our best. If not, we will, as I said earlier, we will follow up with you via email. So let's see. The first question I have here, Simon asked, what about the advanced data science use cases? What does Spotfire do to handle that kind of use cases?
Okay.
Catherine or anyone would like to take a shot at it?
Yeah, I can take that one. So Spotfire has some really sophisticated data science capabilities built into it, with built-in tools like, amazing geolocation and predictive analytics, as well as TER for R. But for even more advanced machine learning use cases, TIBCO Data Science will be on the AWS Marketplace by the end of November, which is really exciting. Use case examples there are, say, in manufacturing, analyzing billions of rows of data to predict product quality. In finance, like market-to-market analysis or trade reconciliation, or in healthcare analytics, analyzing like disease breakouts. We actually work with the CDC and NIH, and even space flight effects. NASA is a big customer. So some really cool stuff there.
Okay, so Catherine, so from what I get from your answer is, in the new release, TIBCO Spotfire will have some advanced data science functionalities on top of the existing analytics functionalities.
Well, we do, yeah. I mean, TIBCO Spotfire has a lot of predictive analytics capabilities, but a separate product that integrates with Spotfire is Spotfire Data Science, and it's going to be available on Marketplace as well at the end of November. So definitely.
Correct. Okay, and then I also have a related question to this, where the question being asked is about missing values. So the question specifically is, does Spotfire come with the assumption that your data is clean? What about missing values? How are they accounted for? So can you add something to that on the data science product?
I can take on that one if you want, Benoit.
Sure,
so
go ahead.
Sure. Yeah.
Essentially, the Spotfire doesn't have any type of expectation that the data you come is clean. You have the capability to do inline data wrangling. So when you import data from a data source, it gives you a good view of the standard analytics of your own data. So missing values, the capability to do a couple of things in terms of the spread of data that you have. It gives you the capability to create calculated columns, so you can have data that comes from the dirty data that you're importing and becomes clean based on the information you add. And of course, it allows you to replace values that are coming from the data source in a way that you can actually analyze them. So it doesn't do the assumption that all the data comes clean and perfect to analyze. It gives you the possibility to insert yourself in the middle and clean it.
Yep, and that's very important and a valuable feature for our customers. So thanks for sharing that. Now, moving on, I see 3 different questions, but all of those are related to the data source when the data comes to Spotfire. So one question is, how do you connect your existing Spotfire analyst to the AWS offering? And then another question is how you can connect data from RDS.
Okay.
So Marino,
yeah. I think Spotfire has different data connectors that allow you to bring data from the sources. So we have built-in connectivity for all AWS RDS flavors, being either Aurora or Postgres or Oracle or whatever you have your data in. Redshift will also have a direct connection. On all those connectivities, you have the option of either do in-database analytics or do analytics in memory. So depending on the size of your data set or the machine you're using, you can choose either option when you're connecting to the data source. in the EMR world, where you have something that is coming, let's say, from a data lake, you do have the possibility to connect to EMR through the standard SQL interfaces if you want, or
Correct.
you also have the possibility to use R inside Spotfire and send jobs to the cluster itself to analyze the data and pick up the results in a Spotfire in-memory table.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is the data could be in a variety of format, including data lakes or relational database, and Spotfire can trigger job, obviously as configured by the user, to basically trigger job that are able to go out to those diverse data sources and bring the data and deliver the analytics on the Spotfire platform. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. So you can actually mash up the data in Spotfire that is coming from different sources.
Okay, so Spotfire product, the analytics product, it does not have its own data storage then, right? Or does it have its own storage as well? Okay.
It doesn't have, it has an in-memory analysis engine, so you can, let's say if you're importing from Excel, it will put that directly in memory, but it relies on the data storage you have on AWS or other sources if you have anything on-premise and you're connecting by AWS Direct Connect or things like that.
Correct. And the reason I was asking is because there is another question where someone asked, can we upload data directly to Spotfire? So I believe then what you just said addresses that as well. And correct me if I'm wrong, that here customers are not directly updating data, uploading data to Spotfire. Instead, they're having their data hosted on data lakes like on AWS or any other sources, and then the Spotfire can go and collect those data and deliver the insights.
And in the case of small data sets, you can actually store the data inside the analysis file that you're using, right?
For small ones,
For small ones.
But when you go to petabyte scale, that's certainly not an option.
There's no way. That's certainly not an option. But if, let's say, if you want to cross the data that you have on your data lake with some information, let's say some weather information you download from a site in a CSV format, you can upload that CSV on the Spotfire memory and cross-reference that with what you're bringing from the data lake or from our Redshift.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's see what other questions we have here. We did talk a little bit about the data wrangling. Catherine, or would you want to add anything more? So there's a question asking about data wrangling. So, and then, so let's say customer is using a separate tool for the data preparation, and then they want to import the analysis or the outcome of the data wrangling phase into Spotfire. So the question is, how can they do that? Like, what is the integration point? I believe that's what the person is asking here.
Yeah, I mean, so basically, you don't need a separate tool to do your data prep and wrangling before you for analysis. All of Spotfire data wrangling capabilities are really top of the line and all built in. So, jumping back and forth between tools ends up wasting time and can introduce errors. But if you do wrangle in another tool, then, absolutely, it's very easy to import those steps. For some time, we've offered inline data wrangling, which Mariano mentioned, which many others don't. So you can perform actions on the fly, like mashing up different data sources by combining columns and rows, or changing data types, how they're categorized, like dynamically grouping or splitting columns, even directly from the visualizations themselves, and, performing that data cleansing that Mariano referred to. Spotfire also has full API support, so you can add functions to your analyses. During that process, for example, like adding and changing join types lets you answer a totally different set of questions than Spotfire. And the other thing that's really exciting and unique about Spotfire's data wrangling is that all your steps are auto-recorded, right, and editable on that data canvas, which makes auditing and sharing those steps and your analysis super easy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so a related question to that, there's just someone asked, integrating your own Python script. So I believe sometimes customer might want to have a little bit more control, either in analyzing the data or maybe extracting insights to the data. So they might have their own machine learning algorithm that they want to apply on the data. Now today on AWS, I know that we do provide our platform like SageMaker, where customers can run their own Python script to develop a machine learning model. But I believe the question here is, within Spotfire, is there a way that you can integrate that within the Spotfire analytics pipeline? If you have any Python script that you want to integrate.
So
Mariano.
I will respond that into steps. So
Okay.
As Catherine said, Spotfire exposes internally its API, so you can use IronPython inside an analysis file to access the data tables you have and the visualizations, and do other analysis, run other functions, analytical functions that you have written. You can do that in IronPython or in R, which is also included in Spotfire by that. Enables you to do all that at the analysis level, right? You can create also what we call data functions in R in particular that enables you to share those with other users of your Spotfire environment. So if you have, I don't know, a random forest classification function that you have built or tuned, you can actually use that. I will extend that to what Catherine said. We have a pure data science product that integrates directly with SageMaker, that it's more proper for building models and training those in SageMaker, running those there, and you can push them onto Spotfire. So depending on how deep you want to go, Spotfire may be perfectly fit, but if you want to actually scale that out, the conjunction of TIBCO data science and Spotfire will probably make much more sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, yep. Thanks for sharing that insight, Mariano. Okay, so another question that came in, which I think is very important for any analytics product. So let me kind of rephrase the question. So basically, the person here asking is, let's say you do define a data set, and you create a dashboard, and you share the link to some customer to view the data on the dashboard, or maybe some employee within your organization. Now, if you want to share the same data, probably share the same link to another person, but you want to control how much they can view based on their roles and authorization levels, is that possible to do on Spotfire dashboard?
Yes, actually, Spotfire enables you to, essentially, when you create users, you can add entitlements to them. Those entitlements can include what they have access to. One of the things that you have to be careful is that you have to craft the analysis to read those entitlements. If you don't do it and you just load the data in memory or load the data in the dashboard directly, it will not do it automatically. Makes sense? So you do have to craft the analysis to read the entitlements of the user and filter that out to the parameters of your data. If you think about it, when you open an analysis, there's nothing in there for us to know what it means that this user is from finance or HR. But you can use those things inside the analysis to figure out, okay, if this person is from finance, these 3 columns that I have, which shows our revenue and our costs, will be shown. If this person is not from finance, I will just filter those out.
Good. So So that's exactly how I was visualizing this would happen in Spotfire, because on the AWS side, I know that we use similar mechanism using IAM, which is in AWS, that's a way to authorize and control access to various resources, and that includes your relational data or your data which you have stored on a data lake on S3 as well. So you can use that kind of similar technique to have a finer grained access control even on the source data on the AWS side. And that might also, I think, will help a Spotfire user to control the access even at the root level based on who is pulling the report.
That is correct. So if you're using IAM and Spotfire can pass that through, so essentially the filtering is done at the data source layer.
Yeah. Okay. I think I have one last question as far as I can see here. And this is about a particular use case. So if someone is in IT ops, the question asking is how I can visualize and do drill down into my API traffic and developer consumption data. So I believe this is like asking for if there are any example use cases, sample, demo, or workshop, or anything like that, or in general, if you just want to share how that can be done, Mariano.
Yes, so we do have ways to pull data from API management platforms. So you have, for example, if you're using I don't know, either API management tools like TIBCO Cloud Mastery, or if you're using something like AWS API Gateway, I think that in the case of Cloud Mastery, it has specific connectors for Spotfire. In the case of API Gateway, you can drop that information into a data lake and pull it from there. We do have examples if you look at the TIBCO side, where we have a lot of customers that are doing exactly that. So if you're in the ops side and you want actually to pull information from your for your traffic to do analysis or detection of anomalies, which is a very common use case for Spotfire, that can be done in the product.
Okay, so when this type of use case, I believe it is also very a useful feature to have some type of job automation capabilities. In fact, there is also another question I just noticed is asking about automating jobs in Spotfire. Do anyone like to expand on that a little bit? Like, let's say if you are on IT ops and you are pulling data from various sources, and you might want to automate these jobs of pulling the data.
Sure, Natalie,
Yeah.
did you want to take that?
Yeah, I was just going to say something. So this is Natalie, and yeah, I actually just put a response because I wasn't sure if you were going to answer the question or ask the question. But yes, you can automate jobs in Spotfire using either automation services or scheduling updates. So you can use the automation jobs to open files, import data, resave files, export to PDF, or deliver analysis to people. So that's an example of a few different types of jobs you can set up. Or if you wanted to cache data, you can use scheduled updates or automation services to fulfill that as well.
Okay. Now, this scheduling, can these be on event trigger as well? Like, I know you shared about, you said about scheduling, but what about when, like, say, some event happening?
You can schedule right now based upon certain times or dates, but if you're asking...
On times and dates. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I believe that feature would be very useful, as I was mentioning earlier, in an IT ops case, to have that kind of scheduling mechanism to automate the jobs. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much all the questions. I will go through the list of the questions later, and if I see that there are other questions that I have missed, then we will basically get back to the audience member who have asked the question. So that's all. So Catherine, Mariano, do you want to add anything else further before we wrap up?
Really just basically, I think we saw on the last slide, the best way to get started, Natalie mentioned a lot of different, well, 4 different deployment options, but basically, you know, it's as easy as going to Marketplace and trialing Spotfire for AWS for less than $1 an hour or via free trial. You can also check out spotfire.tibco.com/AWS to learn more and check out all the
Absolutely.
The 4 deployment options.
Yeah, so just to add to that, AWS Marketplace currently has listing from more than 4,000 APN member companies. And so I would like the audience to go there, give it a try. It's a pretty low cost for a trial, and as Catherine mentioned. And one other thing I'd like to add here is, because of the security certification that I was mentioning earlier that we have obtained for AWS platform. So when you choose to deploy your Spotfire workload on AWS, as a customer, you automatically inherit all those security standards that we have implemented on the AWS platform.
Right. Oh, and one more thing. I mentioned that Spotfire 10 will be released mid-November. So you could go ahead and sign up, and then just expect to see,
Perfect.
basically
Yeah.
a brand new product around that date.
Yep. I think it's important to notice that when we launch new releases, it comes in all our channels. So as soon as the new version is in, you will get a notification from Marketplace that the new version of Spotfire it's available.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think we are almost about the end of the time. If there are no more questions coming right now, we are going to wrap up today's webinar. However, as a reminder, keep an eye out on your email. So within next 2 to 3 days, we will send you a link to the slides and SlideShare along with a recording of today's webinar. And we want to thank you all to attend and listen to this webinar. And if you have any other question afterwards, please don't hesitate to reach out. And thank you.
Thank you.